Hello, Rama Rama Puppodu. Hope all are in good health, feeling relaxed, peaceful, and happy always. Now, let's go to chapter 14, part 2 Sugarcandy Mothers. Limdi is a small state ruled by a Rajput prince who is designated as the Thakur Sahib. The ruling prince is Sir Daulat Singh, a broad-minded and generous-hearted man. He is greatly loved by his subjects and has proved himself to be the real guardian of their interests and welfare. In Limdi, Ramdas was lodged in Kantila's house, situated in a by-lane. Coming to know of his arrival, hundreds of people of Limdi rushed into Kantila's house to see him. All grades of people streamed in. Officers of the state, merchants, and doctors paid him daily visits. Then again, men and women of middle and poor classes also came in vast numbers. Every caste, creed, and sect was represented, of which the Brahmin and the Jain communities formed the majority. A large part of the population of the state belonged to the latter class. He received the visitors in a spacious, carpeted apartment on the second floor of the building, while for the night he retired to a small room on the third floor. Before the crowded audience, Ramdas poured himself out in the language of love and joy, on the charm and power of God's name, and on the blessedness of God realization. The visitors listened to his discourses with rapt attention. Here he chose to live on milk diet. The news spread, and hundreds of mothers came with lotas full of milk from early morning till afternoon. The quantity of milk they brought was so much that he could well nigh have bathed in it. He had to take a sip, very often a drop, through the finger tip from every milk pot so as to satisfy the kind donors. Kantila's house thus became a scene of liveliness and bustle all through the day and till late in the night. Kantila then made this observation: Swamiji, you have converted our humble home into a veritable temple. Being apprised of his arrival, the Thakur Sahib sent one of his officers to invite Ramdas to his palace. About 11 o'clock in the morning, he was taken in a carriage to the princely residence. Kantilal and Maganlal accompanied him. He was received by the prince in a small, well-furnished room. He sat down in an asan on the carpet, and the others in the room also squatted on the floor. Beside the prince was seated an English lady. He talked freely, narrating the experiences he had gained in the course of his travels. He spoke with the familiarity of a child when it recounts its doings to the fondly listening mother. Indeed, there was such a mother among the auditors. She was the English lady, Miss Elizabeth Shape, to whom he would refer in future as Mother Elizabeth, while to the Thakur Sahib as Raja Ram. Raja Ram was also highly delighted at the frank and simple talks of Ramdas, in which he would be so deeply absorbed as to lose all account of time. At 12:30, Raja Ram would start glancing at his wristwatch and exclaim, "Oh, it is past 12. I have to be in my state office by 1. Then the meeting would break up and Ramdas with the young friends would return to Kantilas. For a fortnight he remained in Limdi, and every day he had to visit the palace, where he would spend an hour or two in the society of Raja Ram and Mother Elizabeth, both of whom would come to fetch him in their motor car. He discoursed upon divine love and eternal happiness, presenting instances in his rambles in which the former had prevailed, and listening to which they lost themselves in a state of sweet oblivion. The pure love in the heart of Mother Elizabeth induced her one day to take Ramdas to her neat little bungalow in the midst of a beautiful garden. She called her abode Sri Krishna Nivas, She was so loving and kind. In the afternoons, the rooms in which Ramdas received visitors would be filled by ladies. One of these, two mothers who were very old, did not fail to come every day. In spite of their decrepitude, they would climb up the stairs on all fours and directly totter towards him and push into his mouth large pieces of sugar candy. Hence, they went by the name Sugarcandy Mothers. They would softly rub their palms on his cheeks and, gazing on him with a fond smile, say, "Oh, my beloved!" One evening, in response to an invitation of the old Rani Sahib, the widowed Rani of the late Thakur Sahib, he visited the Janana, or the part of the palace which was reserved for the ladies of the prince's household. The retired Dewan of Limdi, a quiet and pious old man, escorted him to the place. The Rani Sahib, of course, observed Pruda. She sat behind a perforated screen. In a small front room, he was made to sit on a raised asan. The ladies behind the screen could see the people in the outer room, but not vice versa. A Brahman Puranic was also there. It appeared that the devout old mother was utilizing her afternoon hours in listening to the readings of scriptures. She desired that Ramdas should speak. He expressed himself in Hindi. He dilated at length on the hollowness of life, if it was not devoted to the attainment of divine knowledge and universal love. His words flowed in a spontaneous current for nearly half an hour. At the close of his talk, there was followed a dead silence for about 5 minutes. Then the voice of the Rani, in a clear and measured modulation, filtered through the metallic screen. "Look at his magnificent Vairagya. How I wish I were a man instead of a woman, hopelessly caught in a golden cage. If I were a man, I could have a life like his, free and blissful." The words were addressed to the Dewan Sahib. In a tone there was a marked tinge of anguish. Having taken some milk and fruit, kindly proffered by the Rani Sahib, Ramdas took leave of her and returned to his rooms. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupodu.